Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building or on the line right now, Daniel Kaluuya. Welcome, brother.
Yo, well, thanks for having me, man. Nice to see you guys.
Have you ever? I don't think you've ever been here in person. Have you, Daniel?
Never.
No.
Wow.
Never been on
Well, good to meet you over Zoom, man.
Good to meet you too, man.
I've enjoyed you in several projects. You've been attached to some really great movies. I mean, of course, Get Out, Black Panther, and now Judas and the Black Messiah, which I don't want to put too much sauce on it. I just think it's a phenomenal film, first and foremost.
Thank you so much.
That's amazing. So what made you want to do this film? What piqued your interest on this film?
It was Ryan and Zinzi Kugler on a set of Black Panther on the reshoots. Pulled me to the side and they were just like, "Oh, we're making a film about Chairman Fred." I was speaking about that. And then I was like, and then they were speaking that LaKeith was a part of it, LaKeith Stanfield, and Shaka King was directing. And they told me about their intentions and their reasons for doing it. And it just really spoke to me, really resonated with me. And then a lot of things happened because I was in the middle of the Get Out press run at that time. So I sat down with Shaka in New York and I read the script. Literally, it was the first script I read after the Oscars. First script I read was Judas and the Black Messiah. And I just said, yeah, I'm in.
What did they say were the intentions behind doing it?
About unity, you know? It's about bringing people together. Talking about how Chairman Fred was this beacon and he just brought people together. And that's what we want people to do out there, you know? And that really spoke to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was just really simple and really clear, you know, in the way that Ryan and Zinzi speak. So, yeah.
Did you know much about the character beforehand, or did you have to study, or?
Chairman Fred, I knew bits and pieces, you know, here and there, hearing conversations and stuff. I remember I was playing somewhere and I was like, I saw the date that he was born and the date he was assassinated. And I was like, what? Wait, hold on, that can't be right. I was like, what? That can't be right. How old was he? Like, how old? I was like, what? What's going on? And then I was like, and then I was Googling it. And I was like, he can't have been 21. Not only that he was assassinated at 21, but he made it to be chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party by 21. I was just like, that's incredible, you know? And on that day, I remember I went on it and I was like, yo, I need to do a real read on all that stuff when I got time. And then luckily I was blessed to have this opportunity.
Yeah, he was assassinated on December 4th, Jay-Z's born day. You know, I'm listening to you talk, man, and I will always be intrigued by British actors who can make their accents go away for certain roles. I'm from South Carolina, and I can't get rid of this accent to save my life ever. How are y'all able to do that?
It's work, bro. It's work, bro. It's like you gotta get in. You know what I mean? It's like if you're like being a vessel for Chairman Fred, you can't even approach it with your accent. You can't even approach it with your essence like that. Do you know what I'm saying? With your experience, you have to kind of surrender and let your shit. Can I swear? Is it swearing?
Yeah, go ahead.
You kind of let your shit go. Do you know what I'm saying? And then kind of just come to it. You know what I'm saying? And when you come to it, you have to adopt these not only speech rhythms, but thought rhythms. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to think in a way in that space, and then your speech changes. You can't think like a brother from London. You know what I'm saying? You can't think like him when you're looking at it. So it's kind of like it's a scenario of surrendering.
You know, the story of the Black Panthers has been so misconstrued. Like, people try to compare the Black Panthers to the KKK. Knowing this, did you feel extra pressure to make sure that they were portrayed correctly?
Yeah, you know, that comparison is just like laced and based in white fear and white anxiety. You know, because it doesn't make no sense to compare the Black Panther Party, an organization that was providing free healthcare and breakfast program for kids and educating kids, to another group that lynches Black people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's not even, you know, it's like I said, we're navigating white fear and white anxiety, and we're kind of pushing it to the side and saying, yo, this is from our perspective. This is the truth. You know, this is actually what they did. This is what they had to go through. And in that, they still love themselves. And in that, they still love the Black community and poured love into the Black community.
Did they teach
what did you think about LaKeith?
Did they, just a quick question about that. Did they teach you a lot about the Black Panthers in the UK? Because even growing up in New York, they really didn't teach us much about the Black Panthers. Like, you know, they they would teach us about Martin Luther King, drips and drabs of Malcolm X, very little about the Panthers. So did you learn much about the Panthers growing up in the UK?
You know, at school, we did the civil rights movement at school, and it was a lot on Montgomery bus boycott, a lot on Rosa Parks, a lot on Martin Luther King, and then mention of Malcolm X and then skip to JFK and Vietnam, and then it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, and then I remember I just see the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at my old school papers and I saw that there was like these printed, like kind of typed up kind of sections. And I had written the Black Panther Party in the middle of something, like in the middle of it in my writing. I'm probably like at 13, 14. So it was in passing, you know, but then when you're a young Black man navigating the Western construct, you're gonna attract those kind of ideas. If you love yourself, if you wanted to empower yourself, the Black Panther Party is gonna arrive to you. And so it came to me in natural ways, in conversations, or in watching things, or taking in art, and like you're just taking in a lot of stuff. That's how it kind of came to me, and I educated myself on it by myself. Like I read Asata's book. Like that was just me doing stuff in my spare time, you know, because it was stuff that I cared about.
How do you think a movie like Judas and the Black Messiah is relevant as far as what's going on in the world today? Like, could you see a Fred Hampton existing? Do you know anybody that's like that, to try to bring together all different groups of people to fight against police brutality?
There probably is Chairman Fred out there, you know, and that's what it is about Judas and Black Messiah. We're trying to show that this man is a human being, you know, that you have the capacity, anyone out there has the capacity to go out there and support their community and pour love into their community, you know, and empower their own to free themselves, you know. But in terms of like how it's like today, I feel Chairman Fred and Black Panther Party and through this film, just articulating how a lot of people are feeling right now. You see it with last year with the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and the response to that is that like this film articulates how people are feeling and what to do about it, you know? Because I have one of my favorite sayings is do something, start small, start local, keep going. You know what I'm saying? And I feel it's that. It's like go decentralize empowerment, you know? That's how I feel. It's about, let's take the power for ourselves and empower people around us.
I mean, there's a lot of brothers.
One scene that was really crazy to me was just going along those lines was when they went to go talk to the white people with the Confederate flag behind them in the church. And that scene happened. And I can't imagine, you know, a group of Black Panthers teaming up with these white people that, you know, are supporting the Confederate flag. And it got a little bit tense. And it is true. Like, I feel like people are so divided today, and there is some common ground, but it's just sometimes difficult to have those understandings. And I think the character of Chairman Fred was so calm in the way that he was able to speak to people, and just that speech that he was an orator, right? They kept saying throughout. So I thought that was really interesting, because I can't imagine walking up into a church and there's a Confederate flag.
But he was just wise enough. I mean, he says it in his saying, you don't fight fire with fire, you fight fire with water. You know, in order to overcome this system, you have to do it with solidarity, not fragmentation. You know, and that's the key. He understood that with going to the Young Patriots and understanding, even though they were in conflict, that there were points of interest. There were points of interest that they aligned with, but that's not in sacrifice of the love of you, the love of Blackness, and the love of the Black community. That's imperative. That's no compromise there, you know. But we can come together because we're both being neglected in this situation by the powers that be. And if we come together, we can overcome this, you know. We can heal your kids, you know. We can educate your kids. We can feed your kids. It's how they saw it.
Yeah, to go back to a point you made, you know, it is a lot of brothers and sisters out here doing the work right now. And we may have a Fred Hampton type figure in our midst now, but we just don't appreciate them. Like the Tamika Mallory's, the Philip Agnews, they bring people together. They fight against police brutality. But, you know, history always tells a different story after people are gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, Charlamagne. Why don't we empower and put those people up in the platform now? Because they're out there. I don't like somebody say, "Where's Chairman Fred?" You're not caring about the Chairman Fred that's out there doing what they're doing right now. You know, it's how I feel. It's like they're just doing the work. They're just showing up every day. They're on the front line. Sometimes like real change is quiet. You know, it's real quiet. You know, and it's like, and so. And it's like, yo, let's put our attention towards them. Let's empower them. Let's put our resources towards those people that are in Carolina, that are in like New York, that are in Oakland, that are doing the work, you know?
What's the racial climate in the UK? I know we all see in New York, and in New York, I feel like it's plastered everywhere with the George Floyds and Breonna Taylors. But what's the racial climate out there in the UK?
I mean, it's a similar dynamic. I mean, and people need to be clear that, you know, the root of all ideas is usually in the language that people speak. So the fact that we are all on this call speaking English, you know, because the construct that we are all navigating as like in terms of like racism in this towards Black people is rooted in England. You know, they came over and they did what they did. So in England, the climate's different because it's their land. You don't feel, because it's their land. There is a conflict. There is a conflict, but it is subtle. You know, there isn't an insecurity that they stole it, but there is police brutality. I mean, you can see it in Mark Duggan. You know, that's kicked off the 2011 London riots, and his murder. You know, and like Smiley culture. You know, there's so many Black figures and Black people who have been killed by, they've just been murdered by the police, and there've been risings, and you know, the Brixton riots in the 80s. There's been the battle's still going on within England as well.
What do you say to critics who say roles like Fred Hampton should go to Black Americans only?
I listen to them. I'm not trying to say anything to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to listen, because it's like, because I feel like I'm in a position where I'm about union in the diaspora, you know? So if someone's feeling away, I'm going to listen. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to find how can we come together. You know what I mean? How can we come together? And if that's how they feel, there's been a history of people ignoring and dismissing what African-American people are feeling and what they're expressing. I'm not going to contribute to that culture. I'm not in the business of that. It's the reality. So if they're feeling away, they're going to listen. I'm going to say, yo, I'm here to unite. And if they feel like, yo, I don't want to unite with you, then cool. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You also got to reunite with the character William ONeill, played by LaKeith Stanfield. Obviously, you guys worked on Get Out together. And I want to ask you what you think about what he had to do, because he's the one that infiltrated the Black Panther Party in Judas and the Black Messiah. And I just think, like,
don't give too much away now. You're giving a lot away.
Well, it's called Judas and the Black Messiah, and the whole movie's about how this guy infiltrated the Black Panther Party. So I don't think it's a secret.
It is based on a true story.
A lot of people.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you, when you think about what he did, right, as that character, is there any redemption you can find for somebody like that? Because the whole movie, I just kept being like, oh, I can't stand him.
Yeah. I mean, like, the stuff I read that he did after that was just you know.
He killed himself.
Yeah, but not even that is how he carried on, you know, in that area and what he did to that community. But for me, it's just to be clear that he is a pawn. You know, it's like he's the FBI. You know, like it's that he is being used by people, you know, and it's to be clear on that. And also weak. to be what did you say?
I said he's weak.
I think he's apathetic. I think he's indifferent. And I think what you see in this film is the danger of not caring, the danger of apathy, and the danger of self-preservation. And you think you're preserving yourself, taking care of yourself, and it led to him destroying himself. You know, because
and his whole community. I mean, he destroyed the whole movement.
Yeah, but the movement can't be destroyed, Angela. It can't be destroyed.
Right.
That's what Chairman Fred's saying. It can't be destroyed. That's why people out there last year rising up. There's people out there out on the front line. It's just not the topic that we're talking about right now. But the movement cannot be destroyed ever.
It wasn't just him either. So, which is also crazy.
Yeah. And it's the games they play. It's the games they play, and we'll rise above it.
Have you ever experienced the type of betrayal by one of your own that Fred Hampton experienced in regard to William ONeill?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I would have to think about that. I don't know. He's getting into therapy land, Charlamagne.
Yo,
Like,
by the
sign
way,
up for this.
I'm sure you needed some therapy after this role, because that's an intense role. Because you had to take on the trauma of a whole generation, the trauma of a whole movement. I'm sure you had to do some therapy to get that out you.
Yeah, I had to look at myself. I had to really look at myself. And I was blessed to have the pandemic, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I really just sit down. First time I probably sat still since probably, I don't know, since like 2015.
Ooh,
And so it's that kind of it was a lot. It was a lot to take, and I can see that, like, how I access characters is not in a I abandon myself, and I don't advise anyone to do that. You know what I'm saying? There's a way that you can get what you want whilst taking care of yourself and loving yourself at the same time. But, you know, sometimes you kind of go, well, this is all I have, especially when you come from not a lot of money, not a lot of anything. So you're going to use yourself as raw materials. You know what I'm saying? But you don't realize you're burning yourself like a raw material. You know what I'm saying? Instead of enriching yourself and pouring into yourself whilst giving yourself, you know, I had to look at that, and I'm still looking at that.
I like that phrase you used. You abandoned yourself. Like when? During the role or after?
During when I creatively, I do the habits of that person. So I'm waking up, listening to Malcolm X. I am waking up, listening to Martin Luther King speeches. I am taking up smoking. I'm in the space. I'm doing the thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not me. I'm not living as me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing, like, I'm living as how I feel Chairman Fred was living, in order to be in that spiritual space. So, and then I would associate that to abandonment. You know what I'm saying? And that's not cool. You know what I'm saying?
Is that method acting? Is that what they call method acting?
I wouldn't call that method acting. I don't know. Method acting is when you're in character all the time, when I'm just here and then I'm just like, yo, Angela, you call me Fred. That's it. Call me Chairman. That's it. That's all I want to hear. I don't really do that. I don't really do that. But for me, it's just like, I just want to, it's like rituals, like triggers to constantly, like, yeah, you're in the space, you're in the space, you're in the space. But I don't know if I took care of myself going into it, and I don't think I took care of myself going out of it. So wow. I'm going to look at my process, you know?
How do you get out of that? How do you get out of it to get back to some type of normalcy?
It takes a while, my guy. It takes a while. A lot of baths, a lot of taking care of yourself, a lot of just like kind of catching yourself. What I used to do is, like, I used to go away for a week by myself, take my phone off, and thought that would reset me. But you know what it is? I realized last year I'd carried everything since Get Out. Every role I'd taken, I'd carried, and I hadn't said bye to it. I hadn't said bye to it, so it was in my body. You know, and so I had to look at myself.
When you say you take baths, you put some salt in that water, man? Nothing like a relaxing salt bath.
I'll put some Epsoms in that, you know. I'll put some Epsoms, some Himalayans.
Hey.
I get right with it. Do you know what I'm saying? I put some baking soda. I got baking soda. You know what I mean? Whip it up, bro. Whip it up.
That's right.
Did you talk to Fred Hampton Jr. about this role also?
No, we met the family. So I went to Chicago. Before the shoot because I really wanted to meet the family. And we couldn't do it on that trip. And I went to Maywood, I went to his Chairman Fred's old school, old homes, everywhere he went and where he used to speak at, spoke to people in Chicago, understood how he felt to the people in Chicago. And then later on, we went to a trip and we went to meet Chairman Jr. and Mama Akua, Chairman Fred's partner. And yeah, it was like a 7-8 hour meeting. And it was real. You know what I'm saying? It was real. You know, he had views. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of just looked at us and said, yo, why are you doing this? And then why'd you do this? You know, like I remember Mama Kuya said, why'd you make art? You know, what does art mean to you? You know what I'm saying? And I found out stuff about myself in that situation, but I didn't really sit down with the family to go, yo, you know, nah, I don't really engage with people like that. You know what I'm saying? I engage with me. Mm-hmm. I'm in a position, I want to come here and respect and reverence, do you know what I'm saying, and humility, and I move like that, do you know what I'm saying, and I wouldn't want to go, I don't move in a way that I want to take from Black people, you feel me?
You know, it's so interesting, just this short conversation we've had, I can tell that this role really impacted you in a real way, and what have you realized about yourself after playing the role of Fred Hampton? Like, what's the one takeaway you think you've really realized about yourself?
The power of self-love. You know what I'm saying? The power of loving yourself. You know what I'm saying? Unapologetically, in the face of people that want you to, like, what I call it? It's like in the face of fear dressed as hate. You know? It's the power of that. You know what I'm saying? And what the fact that we're sitting here nearly 52 years later speaking about Chairman Fred is the power of self-love, is the power of loving your own, is the power of loving your community. You know what I'm saying? And that stuff is it's not, who cares if you're celebrated in that way, you know, as long as you're doing it, you know, as long as you're consistently doing it, and that will reverberate. I'm a firm believer. I don't try and change the world. I try and change my world. And then if you change my world, then it reverberates to the world. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of just see it like that. I think it really, I had to really look at myself. I had to really look at my ideas. You have to look at it as I'm going into this role, I'm reading this stuff like 2018, 2019. I can't look at, I'm a product of his assassination in that sense. Do you know what I mean? In that fear of speaking up, in that fear of telling the truth. At that time in the late 60s, he didn't have that fear. They didn't have that fear. They didn't come with that. They come, you know what I mean? It's like, so it's like really looking at the fears that I had, you know what I'm saying? And going, wow, what are they? They're just a way to empower them, empower people, empower to with the concept of like white supremacy. What is white supremacy? You know what I mean? Like, what hate group is allowed to be called by their beliefs? I mean, that's white privilege within hate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they're white extremists. I don't believe white people are supreme over me. That's you know what I'm saying? I need to really look over that. So why am I empowering them with a belief that oppresses me? How can I empower people that don't like me? That don't make no sense. I'm not in the business of that. You feel me? Yeah. So then I go, all right, cool. I need to really look at that. Really look at the words I say. Really look at, because my body's listening. You feel me? When you say stuff, your body listens to you.
Well, you know, you got to rap, guys. You got to go.
Damn, I wondered, did you find yourself looking at LaKeith differently after the way he played this role? Because he did it too well.
Yo, you LaKeith still got beef. You LaKeith still got beef, Charlamagne. Is that what's it?
I never had it.
You looking at him sideways? Is that what was happening?
I never had an issue with him. I do feel like he was born to play this role, though.
Wow. No. We're not having that. What it is, yeah? Charlamagne, what it is, yeah? But LaKeith, yeah, in this film, he makes the biggest sacrifice.
Yes,
in
he
this
does.
film, the biggest sacrifice.
He does.
And in this film, he's serving Chairman Fred. Because in order to show you what Chairman Fred is, you have to show him what he isn't. You know? You can't see the light without the dark.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And he served that. And he put himself in the line. That's not his politics at all. You know? That's not how he feels at all. And it was really tough on him on certain days. I mean, he was really going through it. And for him to give, to not be aligned politically to ONeill and still give it his all and still humanize him in order to show who Chairman Fred was, to show who the Black Panther Party was, that's incredible. You know what I'm saying? And I salute LaKeith for that.
Nah, he did an incredible job. I think all of y'all.
Job.
Yeah.
I think all of y'all.
And I want to give some special love also to Dominique Fishback, because she did an amazing job.
True. She wrote that poem. It's incredible. Derek Britt Gibson, Ashton Sanders, Algie Smith, Dominique Fawn killed this film. Do you know what I'm saying? There's so many incredible people in this film. You know, Jesse Plemons, it's a dream to be standing amongst these kinds of people. Like, it's like wow. When you look around, you're like, wow, I'm so proud to be here. You feel me?
Yeah, I don't think this, you know, any Black piece of art needs validation from any of these award shows. But I would love to see this film win all of the awards. I think you and LaKeith need to be up for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, whatever it is. I think it should be Best Picture. Like, I think it was that good.
Yeah, you know what? Isn't those recognizing organizations are a way for more people to see it, and that's the intention of this film. We want this to reach as many people as possible. We want this to. This is like I feel like this is an entertaining film at the same time. Yeah, it's got deep politics, complex ideas. But this is entertaining. You know what I'm saying? This is like, I watch this with my friends. I make films for my friends that I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? So I really care about things being, you know, I'm a firm believer of accessible excellence, you know, simple, special. Do you know what I'm saying? And it being accessible, but still reaching for like excellence in terms of craft. And I feel like this is able to reach the masses.
This is the last question. How would you define Fred Hampton's legacy? How do you want this film to define Fred Hampton's legacy?
It's about being in what people choose to learn from it, you know, in what way people choose to move from it, is how I feel I want this film to impact. Do you know what I'm saying? It's that, and also just being clear that this is a man that had incredible ideas and really he executed these ideas in turbulent times. You know what I'm saying? With the breakfast program, with the free healthcare, with the educating kids, with the Rainbow Coalition. This man like really did it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And really did it and really cared about his own. And people understanding that and taking that in and feeling that and wanting to read up on it, wanting to learn more about it, wanting to empower themselves, wanting to love themselves the way they see the Black Panther Party loving themselves and loving their community. I want that.
All right. Well, Daniel, Kaluuya, appreciate you for joining us. And what about the soundtrack? Did you listen to the soundtrack? Did you ride out to the soundtrack yet?
Yeah, I've heard a couple rhythms, bro. A couple rhythms are crazy, bro. The soundtrack's a bit crazy, bro. The soundtrack's a bit crazy. You know what I'm saying? That Nipsey Jay-Z, so that's a movie, bro.
Hey, when you get really rich, you should buy a Black Panther. Because it's something the universe is trying to tell you about Black Panthers. You've been in the movie Black Panther, now you playing Fred Hampton. You should actually buy a Black Panther. The way Mike Tyson had a white tiger as a pet, buy a Black Panther as a pet.
Yeah, my mom really grew up in Africa, but I don't know what she feel about that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, what you doing? We run from these people, bro. We run from these people. Why are you buying these people? I ain't got time to buy. I ain't buying wild animals, my guy. I'm not buying wild animals. I'm cool. I'll buy a picture. I sponsor one, my guy. I sponsor one for you. I call it Charlamagne. Charlamagne the Panther. You know what I mean? Daniel, Kaluuya, it's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Salute.
Big up, man. Big up, guys, man. It's an honor.